At 102 years old, so much has changed during Leland Brand's lifetime. Wars have come and gone. Mankind has reached the moon and beyond. But flight still holds a certain allure. And if Leland Brand had never taken to the skies, he would likely have been just as comfortable working the earth on his family's farm, just outside of Taylor, North Dakota.
We had horses and cattle. It was a good life.
Leland Johnson, as he was known at birth, was born June 14, 1921, and he grew up on the Stone Hammer Ranch, owned by his aunt and uncle, Sam and Catherine Brand.
I was the youngest of 4 children. My mother died when I was 2 years old.
Leland's mother died from appendicitis, following a slow, frigid winter trek to the hospital from Taylor into Dickinson, first by horse, then by sleigh, and finally by train. She was just 34 years old. Leland was adopted then by his aunt and uncle, and thus inherited a brand new last name. But farm life did not prove to be easy. After a childhood scarred by punishing Dust Bowl drought and famine, Leland dreamt of something bigger, beyond the din of the farm life and into the skies.
I had been interested in aviation since I was a kid. Our ranch was just underneath the major airway from Bismarck to Billings.
In 1938, a chance encounter with a wayward barnstormer, beset by some well-timed engine trouble, allowed for the seemingly impossible. For the first time ever, Leland put his hands on an actual airplane.
The year I was a junior in high school, a pilot landed in a little field. I went down and looked it over and checked out all the controls, primed the engine with gas, and we got it to run.
The flying farmer was hooked.
Most of us would have gotten in deep trouble for that. He probably did, but he doesn't tell us about it. It's a lifelong flying love.
College would help provide Leland with a runway, and later, as part of the Naval Reserve, he was assigned to a flight school in Minot. There, he helped train nearly 500 pilots, teaching everything from slow rolls to loops, and for the truly adventurous, spins.
When I grew up, I remember him mostly doing the crop spraying and teaching people to fly. When I heard he'd like to do aerobatic flying, I just thought, because he likes to take risks.
After dedicating 4 years to the Navy, Leland quietly returned home to North Dakota. His new mission? To help his aunt run the family farm. But he wasn't alone. Leland had his trusty J3 Cub in tow.
I loved aerobatics. I used to do anything from chandelles, loops, slow rolls, Emmelman turns.
It's kind of like not a cat with 9 lives, he's like a person with about 30 lives. I mean, because he's done some dangerous flying.
The flying really was in his blood and is in his blood.
For nearly 30 years, Leland held his air taxi certificate, crisscrossing the country, shuttling a myriad of passengers along the way. But another chance encounter would leave an indelible mark. In a moment echoing his own mother's tragedy, neighbor Hilda Kaufman begged Leland to fly her pneumonia-stricken child to Dickinson and the hospital there. Her son Ricky was barely a year old. Despite an unyielding winter backdrop of North Dakota snow and darkness to match, Leland was eager to help.
At one time in the early 1940s, when there was a lot of snow, my wife told me that this family had been calling, trying to get an airplane to fly the wife and a 1-year-old baby from an area southeast of Gladstone. There was no moon that night, but it was clear, and there were a million stars, and there was a little field behind their house that I could land in. So I flew down there and landed, and the only light they had was a kerosene lantern.
Getting the family to the hospital would prove formidable. In the relentless North Dakota winter, any wrong move could cost the family their lives. Undeterred, the three pressed on to Dickinson, huddled tightly in the cockpit. Once on the ground, with the passengers safely en route to the hospital, Leland didn't even stick around to be thanked. In fact, he wouldn't find out what actually happened to Ricky until decades later, when Leland received a note from Ricky's wife.
She said, for saving his life, I enabled him to spend 70 years on this earth. It was kind of great to know that he'd made it and was still around.
Throughout his career, Leland has been involved in many areas of the aviation industry. Circling the skies above North Dakota as an ag chemical applicator, a flight instructor, and as a pilot for North Dakota Animal Damage Control.
I worked with Fish and Wildlife Service for about 39 years. All the guys I ever flew with, Lee had the best eye for picking up coyotes. A lot of these coyotes in the Badlands were in crappy places. And a lot of times we'd shoot 10 feet off the ground. I never believed in life insurance, but I come home and I told my wife, I said, I need some life insurance.
Throughout his lifetime, Leland has always been willing to lend a helping hand, or a helping wing, to other pilots. In 1946, he became the first president of the North Dakota Flying Farmers, and he served on the North Dakota Aeronautics Commission for 15 years. As Leland once told a local newspaper, there's a lot of country down there that flying is the only way you can see it.
He's inspired a lot of people in general with his life, not just those who are interested in aviation.
If he could physically get in that cockpit today, he would.
I made a comment to one of my coworkers one time. I says, if anybody is able to hit 100, I says, Leland will do that. Of course, I didn't expect him to.
Now, after 102 years, the flying farmer is passing along his immeasurable flight experience and the farm to another generation. Proudly, 5 of his great-grandsons now help run the Stonehammer Ranch.
Daddy, we're all very proud of you for many, many reasons. Being a wonderful father, being an inspiration, and today, being honored for your work and leadership in the aviation field. I think you really were a go-getter and a leader and inspired a lot of people to become pilots. I'm just not one of them.
Leland, just congratulations on a phenomenal career in the aviation business. You've done everything in an airplane, and you're a pioneer. You're a pioneer that has written the book for lots of other folks. You've paved the way for a lot of other folks to be in this business, and just an absolute congratulations to a wonderful, phenomenal career.
Congratulations to be inducted in Aviation Hall of Fame. If anybody deserves it, you sure as hell do.